Westworld is a sci-fi film from 1973. It paved the way for others in the sci-fi genre. It was the first movie ever to use something that would later become integral to almost all modern movies. Stay tuned and you'll find out what. Hello, I'm Dr. Sus, and I want to get this out of the way before, but I have not seen the HBO Westworld show. I will watch it eventually. I've heard equal amounts good and bad about it, so I'll definitely check it out. From the 60s to the 70s, sci-fi films were starting to branch out from the alien invasion films of the 50s and into more thought-provoking mind-benders. From the intricacies of space odysseys to the Planet of the Apes for anyone into furries. The genre was clearly growing more expansive. It would still be a few years till the colossal release of Star Wars.
The world will never be the same again.
On the other side of film, Westerns, having been once a profitable and reliable staple of entertainment, has been gradually pushed aside by other genres.
Yeah, but I shoot with this hand.
So while sci-fi films were waxing, Westerns were waning. A particular movie was released in 1973 that combined the two into a simple and yet complex story. A movie about theme parks, androids, and questionable ethics. Westworld. Westworld is set in the far-flung future of 1983. The movie opens with a promotional advertisement for the company Delos. A man is giving interviews to guests about their experiences at the expensive theme park.
And I was in Roman World.
What is the one thing that stands out in your mind about Roman World?
Oh, well, I think it would be the man.
Dirty hoe!
Now this is a pragmatic use of dialogue, so we can get the exposition out of the way. We were given baseline information about the three parks at Delos Resort: Medieval World, Roman World, and Westworld. Theme parks that indulge guests on their fantasies, whether they be carnal or violent. We follow four guests as they get lost in the worlds they pay exclusively to enter. A creep we will call Harvey, a dork we'll call Toby. Our main protagonists will be named Burns and Mustache. During their exchange, we get a feel for these two characters. Burns is composed like a guy at his second rodeo, while Mustache is learning about the functions of the theme park along with the audience. The dialogue of them en route to Westworld is brilliant in conveying to the audience that Delos utilizes realistic human androids for their theme parks.
Was she, probably?
Please do whatever you want.
That's amazing.
There are no rules.
The only evidence of them being robotic are their hands and the glow of their eyes. Burns is doing his best Clint Eastwood, while Mustache feels like a dork in a costume, because that's essentially what he is. While downing some whiskey, Mustache gets into his first duel with an intimidating gunslinger that we'll just call the Men in Black. It's established that the guns are real, but are designed not to shoot at a target with a thermal energy, making the guests essentially free from harm. Stash and Burns later go to a saloon, and they lay some electrical pipe down.
Where's the sex robot, Morty?
While the guests sleep, Delos is hard at work scooping up the android corpses for repair and redeployment. The head cheese of this mousetrap is a lab coat we'll call Dr. Kleiner. Kleiner and the members of the board discuss a potential virus that can infect the bots and cause mayhem to the guests and employees. The thought of shutting down is overwhelmed by the concerns of money. Meanwhile, let's see what Toby has been up to.
Oh, nice shooting, Tex.
Stash guns down the Man in Black again, and this time goes to jail for it. Burns helps him escape with a dynamite cake, and they ride off into the desert after killing the town sheriff. Our pal, Toby, decides to be the new arbiter of justice. Burns is later bit by a rattlesnake, and it is hilarious to watch.
Oh, this is bad. This is very bad.
I have had it with these motherfucking snakes.
They return to town and get into a bar fight. Now let's check in on our old pal Harvey. Oh, he's being a creep towards an android that appears too young for Harv. She denies his advances and strikes him, which is a definite no-no to Dr. Kleiner.
My God, what are you doing?
But soon, all the robots start going haywire and start killing the guests. Harvey is gutted fighting in the Black Knight in medieval world. Burns gets shot down by the Man in Black, who proceeds to stalk Mustache as he flees in terror.
Oh my God.
Draw.
Nothing Stash does can stop this mechanical menace as he hunts for his fleshy prey. As Stash runs down the endless corridors of Delos, he discovers Kleiner and his team have suffocated in their control room. The Man in Black gets acid to the face and chases him to medieval world, where he loses to fire, I guess.
Well, that was easy.
So we get this cool shot of him without a phase. The movie ends with Stash exhausted on some stairs, while an advertisement plays for Delos.
Medieval world, Roman world, and Westworld. Contact us today or see your travel agent. Boy, have we got a vacation for you.
Yul Brynner plays the Gunslinger, whose unrelenting serial killer vibes were inspirations for Michael Myers and John Carpenter's Halloween. The character's robotic movements and demeanor were heavily influential for Arnold Schwarzenegger's performance in The Terminator. The Man in Black tracks Mustache using thermal scans, which could be interpreted as an inspiration for the way the Predator tracks its victims in another Schwarzenegger classic.
Stick around.
James Brolin plays Burns, and I only really know him from the first Amityville Horror and as Josh Brolin's dad.
How do you know my name?
Westworld was written and directed by Michael Crichton, or Crichton, whatever the fuck. For those that don't know, he is an accomplished author with many books under his belt that have been adapted for the big screen, including The Andromeda Strain, Rising Sun, Sphere, and the classic Jurassic Park.
No, I'm simply saying that life finds a way.
This was his first film that he directed, and I gotta say that he did pretty well, all things considered. The movie was made on a $1.2 million budget, but ended up grossing over $10 million. It even got a sequel called Future World, which I haven't seen and probably won't, and a TV show called Beyond Westworld. Crichton, or whatever, was a bit disappointed at the reaction he got from general audiences. He said they laughed when they weren't supposed to, and were tense when it wasn't really implied. It also irked him when people's interpretation of the themes of the movie were about the dangers of technology. But the theme he was gunning for was the corporate greed will always outweigh the safety and well-being of its customers. Kleiner wants to close the park, but the board is worried about their bottom line.
Greed is right. Greed works.
To save on shooting locations, the Westworld production was primarily shot at MGM's old backlot before it was demolished. Apparently MGM wasn't really a good studio to work under, especially for a young and inexperienced filmmaker. Despite filming limitations, studio interference, low budget, and not really much experience, Michael Crichton, whatever, did an excellent job telling this unique story.
And now, the moment you've all been waiting for.
Westworld holds the title for being the first movie to ever use CGI. Michael Crichton is fascinated by computers, and his work is permeated with its functions and capabilities. When the Man in Black hunts down the stash, the camera changes to his perspective, showing his pixelated version of the world. This was achieved at a time before computers were household items. The initial cost for only maybe about 9 or 10 seconds of film would have cost $200,000 back in 1972. But luckily, Crichton caught a break and got a cheaper deal. It may seem archaic by today's technology standards, but back then this was groundbreaking. No other movie had this. However, this movie isn't without its flaws. Its pacing and certain editing choices are kind of questionable, and the tonal shifts are just outright wacky. Nonetheless, this movie was perfect for its time that it came out, and its legacy is still going strong almost 50 years later. The use of Western tropes, while seeming cliche, is used to reinforce the narrative that this theme park is dedicated to the immersion for its guests. Westworld doesn't overwhelm me with ideas. It could only raise some interesting questions. About morals, about what is real, what makes a human. The ideas in this film inspired cinematic giants and used advanced technology to achieve a filmmaker's vision that would become a major aspect of filming in the decades that followed. Westworld is a movie worth remembering for because of its premise and impact on the science fiction genre. Truly a pioneer. Well, I'm off to watch the HBO show. Maybe I'll make a review about it. Thank you for watching and
bye-bye.